Well, today I'm fixing to light off a fire in this little TEMOR folding camp stove. And it's got a unique feature to it. A water tank on the side. I always smell it and taste it now before I do it. And what you do, you just fill it up with water. It's got a spout on the side. I guess I better close the spout. Old enough for a big cup of coffee, of course. I've got a new little stainless steel cup. Bought a few of those. I'm on light. Oh, all the wood got wet yesterday. And I'm going to make a few grilled cheese sandwiches. And fried cat, right? Wouldn't hurt my putty cats. When you know it caught up on the side that is away from the pot. I hadn't cooked on it before, but I have heated the thing up. And it's got a nice grill that fits on top, and it's got 2 wire brackets that can go on either side. Of course, I didn't bring them out here. I got them in the tent. And of course, that sits up there like that. Well, while that's doing, I'll go ahead and open this up. I hope the microphone is picking this up. I guess I better turn more toward the camera. And a little Taster's Choice coffee is what I'm going to make today. With probably some cat whiskers in it, right? Now what I did with these grilled cheese. I went ahead and buttered them. That way I can lay it on the pan. Take my cheese. Go ahead and butter it, and then you can just lay the cheese on there, take the other buttered piece and put on top. You can keep in a sandwich bag, that way they don't stick to the sandwich bag. Well, I think that's hot enough to cook that. I sort of scorched my, I can't scrub that off. It baked it on hard. Left the eye on when I made a wrap with some of that good old armored chicken. Is what I was going to do out here. Yeah, I left that on the stove last night when I made a wrap. Yeah, I sort of messed that skillet up. I'm going to have to cook some bacon or sausage in it. I burned it pretty good. Oh yeah, just like I like them. I like a charbroil sandwich. I forgot to set up my clock so I know how much time I had left on that 30-minute limit on that thing, and then it cuts off. It's crazy. Yeah, the coffee water ought to be good and hot. Yeah, I love that char. Like a turkey at Thanksgiving. I like that charred meat on the outside of it. Well, let's pour a little water in here. Oh. I bet it's nice and black on that side now. Yeah, buddy. All right. Little Taster's Choice instant coffee. Not bad if I don't spill it. Get down. This ain't gonna work for you on the table. It holds almost 2 liters of water, or a full liter of water. Oh yeah, and that is a char broil sandwich. The name of this stove is TEMOR. Sells for $40 on Amazon. You've got to go through several pages to get to it. But you just keep on going back through the camping wood stoves and you'll find it. Now they've got, I think, 3 other styles of stove made by these people. But this is only, the TEMOR is the one with the water jacket. Mighty convenient for fixing coffee, because you can have your coffee right along waiting on the food to get done. And boy, does it get it hot. But you got to find some rocks to set it up on, or concrete block, so you have it high enough off the ground. I just got a piece of sandstone under it. That's mighty good. I get through eating, I'll come back and tell a story about a camping trip I went on that got pretty scary. Oh, thought that'd heat me up. It's a little warm with this fire too. Take one side off anyway. I forgot to tell that this thing has a door over here on the opposite side with a ring on it. Of course, you need something like a spoon to turn it and open it. Well, it's got a little latch on it, but it's a good little outfit. I just find it easier to feed the top. Well, my story for today. Back in 1965, in not a high school, then two of my friends decided we would take a senior trip of our own, separate from the big senior trip. So we had worked odd jobs to save up money strictly for this trip. And whatever we had, that's what we were going to do and go until we just about run out of money. And we lived in Florence at the time, in Alabama, and we were going down to Panama City, Fort Walton Beach, Mobile, go see the forts and all the stuff there, and go camp on Dolphin Island. And well, we started out over at Panama City, spent a day or so there. Went to Fort Walton, and we left Fort Walton late one night. It was almost midnight. Well, we got in the car and took off, and didn't know where we were going to camp that night. But we drove along till we found this little sandy road that went off into the pine woods. And we turned down that little road and went to the end of it. Nice little cleared out spot there. There's stuff all over the ground. Didn't know what it was, but anyway, we set up in the dark, and it was about 1 o'clock, I guess, when we pitched our tents, got in bed. Next morning, we wake up to the sound of machine gun fire. And of course it was already daylight, probably 8:30 or so, whatever time they came out to the range to start shooting. Well, anyway, we looked around and there's bullets laying all over the ground, 30 calibers. And we broke camp in 2 minutes. I mean, I grabbed a tent, jerked stakes and all, threw them in the trunk of the car with all the gear and everything inside the tent. And they pulled their tent up and threw it in the trunk. We slammed the lid. Took about 2 minutes to break camp, start the car, and get going. I don't even think we had our clothes on, just in our underwear. So we get back out to the highway, and there's a chain laying down on the road. We didn't even see that the night before. And of course we stopped and got our clothes on and looked, and the sign said, "Danger, do not enter. Impact area, machine gun range, Elgin Air Force Base," or Elgin Air Force Base. They don't even have those ranges there anymore. I mean, all that stuff, they've closed down most of that base, most of the training facilities. And one of these days we're going to need all those military bases, and we're not going to have them. They got civilian houses built all over them now. But yeah, that's probably the scariest camp I've ever been on. But there were bullets bouncing through the trees while we were yanking our stuff up and throwing it in the truck. Needless to say, we didn't have breakfast. We went somewhere else to have breakfast. Then we went on over to the forts over at Gulf Shores, and I think we took the ferry and went across to Dolphin Island, and then went and camped down there on the end of the island that night in the sand dunes. And we set up our little old tents in between the sand dunes. And I was out closer to the beach, the last row of sand dunes, and they were right behind me. Well, that night, we heard a Jeep coming down the beach, and he was jumping sand dunes. I jumped out of the tent and waved my light to wave him off, because he would have come right over me. Yeah, my old saying, if it can, it will. It definitely will, because it can. But then we went on over to, we went to Bayou La Batre and looked at all the shrimp boats. Then went over to New Orleans and saw everything there was to see there. Then got back in the car and headed for home. And it was probably 2 o'clock. We hadn't slept a whole bunch on this trip. But we put our last dollars in gasoline in the car to make sure we'd make it back when they had filled the tank up. And 62 Chevrolet. But it had a 6-cylinder engine in it, straight shift, and it got real good gas mileage, otherwise we couldn't afford to go. But that was our senior trip, and got pretty scary. Well, I think I'm going to make me another cup of coffee. Taster's Choice. That's pretty good coffee. As far as instant goes, it's probably the best. Ouch. It's hot. See how convenient that is? You might want to get one of those things. They're only $40, and it comes with 2 little wings that go out on it. I've got them in the tent there. Didn't see any sense putting them on today. Little racks on the side. Well, I'm going to wrap this one up, and these little Trekology tables sure are nice. I think I got the medium size. I got, I think, 3 different sizes. And they make a short one. I'm going to have to get one of them where you can use it in a tent. Because it'd be a hot tent time before long, and I'll be setting up a hot tent here. Reason I don't go off in the wild, blue yonder in the woods, I can't depend on my health. It's been pretty rough after getting hold of that bad bottled water. I just hope they hadn't poisoned anybody else. Oh yeah, those are good coffee cups. They're heavy. I mean, not lightweight stuff. And they won't burn your hands on the outside. I think they're 2 layered because they're thick. But you can hold it at the bottom and it's too hot to put a finger in. I found those on Amazon. Sort of like that stainless steel cookware that's got, it's hollow with oil filled. But up at the top now, it's hot up there. And the handle is cool, because I think it's hollow. And you stay off my table, you almost turned it over a while ago jumping on the end of it. Oh, well, oh, if it can, it will. Oh, I'll come back in a few minutes. I just want to cut the thing off because it only runs 30 minutes, and if I go over that, I'll lose. That was quick, and the fire burns out pretty quick in that thing. It gets pretty hot. Oh. What I want to show you was my rig that I had in the tent in that last video. These LED lights. Oh, they've got a switch on them. There. And you got a dimmer and bright. And they do get pretty bright. And this is what I run it off of. Now, it's Schumacher, the company that's been in business since 1947, and it's been sitting out in the tent all this time. 12.3 volts. It's got a light, and then it's got two 115 plugs and two 12-volt plugs, the sockets. And it's also got an air compressor for pumping up your tires. It's stored in the back, right here. And to charge it, you just flip that down and plug an extension cord to it. Charge it up. And this thing was $160. And I was looking at the Jackery, which was sitting there in Walmart right next to it. And I thought, why spend $300 for that minimum Jackery when this thing's $160? I'm going to try running a hot plate off of it. Well, a rice cooker I've got. It's got a low wattage, like 400 watt setting on it. And this is rated up to 300 watts long-term use. But I'm sure it's got a circuit breaker that'll kick it, kick the power off if you overload it when it gets warmed up. And this LED set, they come 3 lights to the set. And they got their own little tripod stand. And 3 lights. Each one's got the plug up. It's a USB plug on the end. I really like this rig. And you mash the middle button there, and that's the on and off, and then you got the up and the down. But that turns the 120 on. This turns the 12 on. But that will work with the 120 on. The USB port's powered. But I tell you, this is a fine rig. And you're never in the dark. Plus you can pump up your car tire, and the Jackery don't do that. Or pump up your sleeping pad, your tires, your inflatable kayak, and you can boost your car off. Can't get better than that. Just always remember, when you're running your 12 volt, don't be messing with those, and don't be in contact with metal. You could put a piece of swim tube, the pool tubes, put a piece of that on the end of it, keep it insulated from touching. And of course it's got the little inflators for you can use on your air mattress. It's got a, I think it's got a ball, yeah, it's got a ball needle in there too. You can pump up your basketball or volleyball, whatever you're playing with. And I tell you, that's a super good rig there. Put this over here. I've got a nice place to camp around here. Of course, I'm going to do some stealth camping and stuff, but I've just been pretty sick, and I have weeks that I do good and weeks that I do bad, and when I get that old shake, it's like that right there. Can't hold a cup of coffee. Almost like I got Parkinson's. I've got a younger brother that's got Parkinson's. He's in the hospital right now. But I didn't have a thing wrong with me as far as shaking or anything up until I got hold of that bad water, and it had something like acetone. It was an industrial cleaner or something, but it smelled like acetone. I don't know if that's what it was. Couldn't get anybody to test it. Oh, these, I think these lights are something like $36, $37. They come in a set of 3, come packed in a box about that long, about that big square. And they've got all different colored light filters for each light. You don't just get one set of color filters. I've got the sort of a yellowish light on this. Got one with a red on it. I've got green on another one, using them up in the studio. I think I'm going to get another 2 sets of those lights. Because you got USB ports on everything now. Your multi-plugs with a circuit breaker on, the surge protector, they've got 2 of those ports on there for USB. I've got one that's got the USB-C and then the A or whatever, the smaller one. You can use anything on it. Oh, that coffee's good. And I'm telling you, this thing burns up your wood real fast, so you don't have to worry. It's already cooled down. Except the coffee's still hot. I may have a 3rd cup. Yeah, I was on Tony's live chat, Random Adventures 2.0. If you've never seen that guy, I'm telling you what, talk about funny. He's really good. He does a good script for stuff. He thinks up all kind of different ideas. But he just went over 10,000 subscribers. And I think he's been doing this like 18 months. But I started watching him back before he had a stroke. I mean, his first video. At the time, though, I hadn't signed in to be able to leave the likes and all that, or subscribe. But I went ahead and got signed up during that month after I saw his videos, because I wanted to be able to communicate with him. Of course, I talk with him on the phone every once in a while, but he's a super good guy. And Random Adventures 2.0. And Steve Wallace even came into the chat and was congratulating him. But Tony had done a storage building stealth camp. It was a good video. He hadn't done a bad one. I go back and watch him over and over again. I may be the one that watches his videos about like I watch Steve's videos. I go back, because I get this craving to watch the old videos, you know, back when they first started. Been watching Steve about 7 years, and he's really a decent guy. It's just a shame what happened with his wife. It's just, of course, I lost my wife 10 years ago to cancer, and I miss her more every day. Love that woman, and nobody else could take her place. I'll have another good story about her. Oh, I'm telling you, she could crack everybody up. She was so funny. Well, I better get through with this before my camera cuts off, because I've got no way to know. I don't have a light on the front to let me know. What I'm going to have to do is put a mirror behind it, so I'll know when the red light goes off. Well, if it can, it will. And I may do a separate video for music with my D28 Martin. I got the pick guard on it, and it's ready to play. I've been playing it a little. So, well, let me get around here and cut that thing off. It ain't over the camera. Well.